Look around you. The lights are twinkling. The carols are playing. The world is celebrating a baby in a manger. It feels safe. It feels okay. We like this Jesus. He is small. He is silent. He is harmless. But let me tell you a truth that might shake you. The baby didn't stay in the manger. And the Jesus the world is celebrating today is not the Jesus who is coming back tomorrow. The first time, he came as a lamb to be sacrificed. The next time, he returns as a lion to rule. The first time, there was no room for him in the inn. The next time, the entire universe will not be big enough to contain his glory. Welcome to Revelation in Prophecy. Today, we uncover the other half of the Christmas story, the return of the King. To understand the lion, we must first understand the lamb. Why did the creator of the universe enter history in such weakness? Born in dirt, wrapped in rags? Because he was on a rescue mission. The prophet Isaiah saw it 700 years before Christmas. He wrote, "He was led like a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before its shearers is silent, so he did not open his mouth. He came silently because he came to pay a debt. He didn't come to judge the world, but to save it." This is the Christmas we know, the season of grace, the era of mercy. God held back his power. He allowed humanity to mock him, to beat him, and to kill him. Why? So that the door of salvation could be thrown open for you and for me. But listen closely. The season of the Lamb does not last forever. Look at our world today. Chaos, war, injustice. People ask, if Jesus is the Prince of Peace, where is the peace? Why does God stay silent? Do not mistake God's silence for weakness. Do not mistake his patience for absence. The Apostle Peter tells us, "The Lord is not slow in keeping his promise. He is patient with you, not wanting anyone to perish." We are living in the final seconds of the age of grace. The invitation is still open. The baby in the manger is still offering peace. But the page is about to turn. The Lamb is standing up from the throne. The Bible gives Jesus another title, one that hasn't been fully revealed yet. The Lion of the tribe of Judah. A lion does not ask for permission. A lion does not negotiate. A lion reigns. The book of Revelation describes his return. No more manger. No more swaddling clothes. I saw heaven standing open, and there before me was a white horse, whose rider is called Faithful and True. With justice he judges and wages war. His eyes are like blazing fire. On his head are many crowns. He is not coming to debate with the world's politicians. He is coming to establish a kingdom of righteousness that will never end. This is the ultimate promise of Christmas. Evil has an expiration date. Justice is coming. The first time, he came to a specific city, Bethlehem. The second time, every eye will see him. The first time, only a few shepherds noticed. The second time, every knee will bow. So this Christmas, as you look at the nativity scene, don't just see a baby. See the King in disguise. The Lamb came to save you. The Lion is coming to claim you. The question is not, is he coming back? The question is, are you ready? If you want to understand the signs of his return, you are in the right place. Click subscribe and join us on this journey. If this message gave you hope, hit the like button so more people can know the true King. Merry Christmas. Prepare the way of the Lord. We often view the ancient scriptures as distant history, disconnected from the stress of our modern lives. We see the baby in the manger and the roaring Lion of Judah as abstract symbols. But what if these symbols are actually the answers to your sleepless nights, your anxiety about the future, and your hidden pain? The journey from the lamb to the lion is not just Jesus' story. It is the road map for our own peace. It teaches us that vulnerability is not weakness, and justice, though delayed, is inevitable. Let us walk back to the dusty roads of Galilee to hear the Master himself bridge the gap between heaven's plan and our human hearts. 1. True strength begins with vulnerability. In a world that tells you to toughen up and hide your emotions, the Lamb teaches us that showing weakness is actually the highest form of courage. You don't have to carry the weight of the world alone. True power comes when you surrender your pride and admit you need help. By becoming the Lamb, God showed us that a soft heart is stronger than a hard shell. It was late in the evening near Capernaum. Peter sat by the fire, his head in his hands, overwhelmed by the expectations of the crowds. Jesus sat beside him, watching the embers glow. "Lord," Peter whispered, his voice cracking, "I must be strong for them. I cannot show them that I am afraid." Jesus placed a hand on Peter's shoulder. "Peter, look at the lamb in the field. It has no claws to fight, no roar to terrify. Yet the shepherd holds it closest to his chest. Do not mistake armor for strength, my friend. To open your heart, to bleed for others, and to admit your need for the Father, that is a strength that no sword can ever cut. I came as a lamb, so you would not be afraid to be broken before me." 2. Silence is not defeat. It is trust. When we are accused or misunderstood at work or in relationships, our instinct is to fight back, to explain, to defend. But the silence of the Lamb reminds us that we don't always have to prove ourselves. There is a profound peace in knowing who you are, so much so that you can remain silent while the world makes noise. Your vindication comes from God, not from the opinions of others. Judas had just left the upper room, and the air was thick with tension. The other disciples were murmuring, anxious about the rumors spreading in Jerusalem against their master. "Master," Thomas asked anxiously, "they call you a deceiver and a blasphemer in the market. Why do you not go there and silence them with your power?" Jesus broke a piece of bread slowly. "Thomas, does the lion roar at every dog that barks? When I stand before my accusers, I will be silent, like a sheep before its shearers. My silence is not weakness. It is the ultimate trust that my Father holds the final verdict. When you know who you are, you do not need to shout to be heard. Let your life speak, and let your words be few." 3. Sacrifice is the currency of love. We often measure love by what we get, but the Lamb measures love by what we give up. In our modern relationships, we transactionally keep score. The philosophy of the Lamb challenges us. Real connection happens when we sacrifice our ego, our time, and our right to be right for the sake of another. That is the only way to heal a broken bond. A rich young ruler had turned away, that he could not part with his wealth. The disciples watched him go, confused. John asked softly, "Lord, is love always so costly?" Jesus looked at John with eyes full of compassion. "There is no love without a cost, John. A seed must die to become a tree. A candle must burn itself down to give light." I will lay down my life, not because the nails hold me to the cross, but because love holds me there. If you wish to truly love your neighbor, do not ask what you can gain from them. Ask what you are willing to lose for them. That is the heart of the Lamb. 4. Justice delayed is not justice denied. We look at the news, war, corruption, unfairness, and we ask, where is God? The promise of the lion tells us that the delay isn't abandonment, it's mercy. God is not ignoring the evil. He is giving time for the change. Your current suffering is seen, and a day of reckoning is guaranteed. This gives us the patience to endure an unfair world. They were walking through the ruins of an old watchtower. Zealots were whispering about overthrowing the Romans by force. Simon the Zealot clenched his fist. "How long, Lord?" Simon asked, his eyes burning. "The Romans crush the weak. The wicked prosper. Where is the justice of God?" Jesus pointed to a distant storm cloud gathering over the hills. "Do you see the storm, Simon? It takes time to gather. But when it breaks, nothing can stand against it. I came first to plant the seed of mercy, but know this, the Lion of Judah is coming. He will not negotiate with darkness. He will end it. Do not let your heart grow bitter while you wait. The King is preparing his court. 5. You are protected by a power. You cannot see anxiety often stems from feeling unsafe or unprotected. We build walls, save money, and worry endlessly to feel secure. The image of the lion returning assures us that we have a fierce protector. You are not walking through life's jungle alone. The wildest, strongest force in the universe is on your side, guarding you like a lion guards his pride. A sudden squall rocked the boat, and the disciples were terrified, bailing water frantically. Jesus stood up, spoke to the wind, and calm returned. Trembling, Andrew asked, "Who are you, that even the wind obeys?" Jesus sat back down, the spray of the sea on his face. "You fear the storm because you feel small, Andrew, but you forget who sleeps in your boat. The Lion of Judah does not fear the waves. As long as you are with me, no water can drown you, and no fire can burn you. You are not kept safe by the absence of storms, but by the presence of the King." 6. Gentleness is the key to access. Authority is the key to order. We need both the lamb and the lion in our lives. If Jesus were only a lion, we would be too terrified to approach him. If he were only a lamb, he couldn't save us from evil. In your own life, balance grace and truth. Be gentle enough to connect with people, but have enough moral authority to set boundaries and stand for what is right. A woman caught in adultery was thrown at his feet. The crowd held stones. Jesus held only silence. After they left, he looked at her. "Where are your accusers?" he asked gently. "They are gone, Lord," she whispered. "Neither do I condemn you," Jesus said, his voice soft as the lamb. But then his eyes grew intense, firm as the lion. "Go now, and leave your life of sin. My grace opens the door, daughter, but my truth shows you the path. Do not trample on the gift I give you today." 7. Your pain has a purpose. The Lamb was slain from the foundation of the world. This means pain wasn't an accident. It was part of the plan for redemption. When you go through suffering, it's easy to feel punished, but the philosophy of the Lamb teaches that your pain can be a bridge to help others. Your scars can become your greatest testimony if you hand them over to God. James and John were arguing about who would sit at his right hand in glory. Jesus called them over, looking at the calluses on their hands. "You ask for the crown," Jesus said, But are you ready for the cup? The way to glory is not paved with gold, but with sacrifice. The lamb must bleed before the lion can roar. Your pain in this life is not a sign that I have forgotten you. It is the fire that refines the gold. Do not waste your suffering, my friends. Let it make you tender, not hard. 8. The grace period is a gift, not a license. We often procrastinate, thinking we have forever to fix our lives or make amends. The gap between the first coming lamb and second coming lion is a limited time of grace. This philosophy urges us to stop delaying. Forgive that person today. Change that habit today. The lion is coming, and the window of opportunity is closing. Zacchaeus climbed down from the sycamore tree, overjoyed that Jesus would visit his house. But some in the crowd grumbled that Jesus was dining with a sinner. Jesus turned to the crowd. The sun is high now, and the door is open. The Son of Man came to seek and save the lost. But night comes when no man can work. Today salvation has come to this house. Do not think the door will stay open forever. Enter while the Lamb is calling, before the lion rises to close the book of history. 9. True identity comes from whose you are, not what you do. The world defines us by our jobs or failures. But the Lamb defines us by his purchase. He bought us with a price. The lion defines us by his protection. We are his pride. When you struggle with self-worth, remember, you are valuable enough for the lamb to die for, and important enough for the lion to fight for. Matthew the tax collector sat apart from the others, feeling the weight of his past betrayal of his own people. Jesus sat next to him. They still see a tax collector when they look at me, Matthew confessed, looking at the ground. Let them look, Jesus replied. They see what you did. I see who you are. To the world, you are a traitor. To the Lamb, you are worth every drop of blood. To the lion, you are a citizen of a kingdom that will never end. Lift your head, Matthew. Your identity is not in your ledger. It is in my promise. 10. Hope is the anchor in us when the economy crashes, or health fails, or society crumbles. Fear dominates. But the prophecy of the lion gives us an anchor of hope. We know the end of the story. Good wins. Knowing the lion is returning allows us to live with calm confidence in a chaotic world. We don't panic like those who have no hope. On the Mount of Olives, looking over the temple that would one day be destroyed, the disciples asked about the end of the age. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, Jesus said, his voice steady against the wind. Men's hearts will fail them from fear. But you, when you see these things, look up, lift up your heads, for your redemption draws near. The world sees chaos. You see the footsteps of the King. The lion returns not to destroy the earth, but to reclaim it. Peace I leave with you. Let not your hearts be troubled. 11. Service is the pathway to greatness. In our modern career ladder, we are taught to climb over others to get to the top. We think power means having people serve us. The philosophy of the Lamb inverts this entirely. If you want to be a lion in the kingdom, you must be a servant on earth. True majesty is found in the towel, not the tower. When you serve others without expecting praise, you align yourself with the heart of the King. It was just before the Passover festival. The disciples were arguing about hierarchy. Jesus stood up, took off his outer clothing, and wrapped a towel around his waist. He knelt before Peter with a basin of water. Lord, Peter pulled his feet back, shocked. You shall never wash my feet. You are the Messiah. Jesus looked up, water dripping from his hands. Peter, the kings of the Gentiles lord it over them. But it shall not be so with you. If I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. The Lion of Judah does not need a pedestal to be high. He stoops down to lift the lowly. To rule, you must first learn to serve. 12. Forgiveness is the ultimate freedom. We hold on to grudges like shields, thinking our anger protects us or punishes those who hurt us. But the Lamb teaches that holding on to bitterness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Forgiveness isn't about letting them off the hook. It's about unhooking yourself from the pain. The Lamb forgave his executioners so that the Lion could judge with pure righteousness, untainted by malice. While hanging on the cross, struggling for every breath, Jesus looked down at the soldiers gambling for his clothes and the crowd mocking his pain. "They do not know," Jesus gasped, his voice weak but his spirit unbroken. "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." A thief hanging beside him watched in awe. "You pray for them? Even now?" Jesus turned his head slightly. "To hold on to hate is to let the enemy win twice. I choose mercy today, so that when I return as judge, my justice will be perfect. Let go, my friend, and you will find paradise." 13. Faith is seeing the light before the sunrise. Anxiety is essentially living in a future that hasn't happened yet, expecting the worst. The prophecy of the Lion teaches us to live with anticipatory joy. We don't wait for the problem to be solved to have peace. We have peace because we know the solver. Faith is the ability to roar at the darkness, because you know the dawn is inevitable. In Bethany, Martha ran to meet him, tears streaming down her face. Her brother Lazarus had been dead for 4 days. "Lord," she wept, "if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But even now," Jesus looked at the tomb, sealing in the darkness of death. "Martha, did I not tell you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God? You see a stone. I see a door. You see an end. I see a beginning. The Lamb weeps with you, but the Lion commands the grave to give up its dead. Do not look at the decay. Look at me. I am the resurrection." 14. Your worth is not your productivity. Society values us based on our output, how much money we make, how many tasks we finish. We feel guilty when we rest. The Lamb reminds us that we are human beings, not human doings. God loved you before you achieved anything. The Lion fights for you not because you are useful, but because you are his. Rest is a spiritual act of trusting that the world keeps spinning without your help. The crowds were pressing in, demanding miracles, teaching, and healing. The disciples were exhausted, barely having time to eat. "Come with me," Jesus whispered to them, steering them toward a quiet boat. "Let us go to a quiet place and get some rest." "But the people need us," Philip protested, pointing to the desperate faces on the shore. Jesus smiled gently. "Philip, the Father works even when we sleep. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Come, rest in my presence. You are not a servant to be used up. You are a son to be restored. The Lion rests in his strength, and so should you." 15. Betrayal cannot stop your destiny. Many of us carry the scar of betrayal. A partner who cheated, a friend who lied, a business partner who stole. It feels like a roadblock. But the story of the Lamb shows that betrayal was actually the catalyst for salvation. What the enemy meant for evil, God used for the ultimate good. Your Judas didn't stop your destiny. They unwittingly pushed you toward your purpose. In the Garden of Gethsemane, torches flickered in the darkness. Judas approached, his eyes avoiding the master's gaze, and leaned in for a kiss. "Judas," Jesus asked, his voice steady, not trembling. "Are you betraying the Son of Man with a kiss?" Peter drew his sword, ready to kill the traitor. "Put your sword away, Peter," Jesus commanded, his voice ringing with authority. "Do you think this surprises me? This betrayal is the key that unlocks the redemption of the world. He means it for my destruction, but the Father uses it for my coronation. The Lamb must be sold so the Lion can redeem the world." 16. True peace is an inside job. We chase external peace, a quiet house, a vacation, a big savings account. But real life is stormy. The philosophy of the Lamb is that peace is not the absence of the storm, but the presence of the shepherd within the storm. You can be calm in the middle of chaos when you know who holds the winds. The upper room was filled with fear. The doors were locked because the disciples were afraid of the Jewish leaders. Suddenly, Jesus stood among them. "Peace be with you," he said, showing them his hands and side. Thomas touched the scars, trembling. "But Lord, the world outside is still dangerous. They still want to kill us." Jesus looked him in the eye. "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. The world gives peace when the war is over. I give you peace during the war. Let your heart not be troubled. The Lion has overcome the world." 17. Patience is power in reserve. In an instant gratification culture, we hate waiting. We want the promotion now, the healing now. But the Lion of Judah is a God of timing, not speed. The long silence between the lamb and the lion isn't inactivity. It's preparation. Patience isn't passivity. It's power in reserve, waiting for the precise moment to act. Jesus sat by the well in Samaria, waiting while his disciples went to buy food. A Samaritan woman approached. "You have nothing to draw with, and the well is deep," she challenged him. Jesus sat calmly, unhurried by her skepticism. "Everyone who drinks this water will be thirsty again, but I can give you living water." "When?" she asked. "When will the Messiah come to explain everything?" "I, the one speaking to you. I am he." Jesus revealed himself not with a shout, but in a quiet conversation. "The Father waits for the harvest. I waited eternity to meet you here, at this well. Do not rush the seasons of God. The lion stalks his prey with patience, and God pursues a soul with the same precision." 18. Humility is the door to wisdom. We live in an age of experts, where everyone has an opinion. The Lamb teaches that a teachable spirit is the key to the kingdom. To learn, you must admit you don't know. God hides his deepest secrets from the arrogant and reveals them to the humble. If you want to know the mysteries of the Lion, you must approach with the heart of a child. The Pharisees surrounded him in the temple, trying to trap him with complex theological questions. Jesus answered them, then called a little child to stand among them. "Truly I tell you," Jesus addressed the learned scholars, "unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven." Nicodemus, a teacher of the law, furrowed his brow. "Must we forget our knowledge?" Jesus replied, "You must forget your pride, Nicodemus. A cup that is full cannot be filled. The Lion of Judah roars the mysteries of eternity, but only the lamb-like heart has ears to hear. Knowledge puffs up, but humility opens the eyes. 19. Judgment is an act of love for the victim. We often fear the idea of the lion as a judge, but for the victim of abuse, of slander, of injustice, a judge is their only hope. The lion's return is the promise that no tear you've cried was wasted. He collects them. He remembers. Judgment isn't just punishment for the wicked. It is vindication for the wounded. He was teaching on the Mount, looking at the faces of the poor, the mourning, and the persecuted. "Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness," Jesus proclaimed, "for they will be filled." A woman in the crowd, bearing the scars of abuse, looked up. "Filled? When? We are starving for justice now." Jesus looked at her with fierce tenderness. "The day is coming. The Lamb allows the wheat and tares to grow together for now, for the sake of mercy. But the Lion will bring the harvest. Every secret act of evil will be shouted from the rooftops. Your vindication is written in the books of heaven. Wait for me." 20. Your past does not define your future. The Lamb takes away the sin of the world. That means your past failures, your divorce, your addiction, your mistakes are gone. The Lion guarantees your future. You are not who you were. You are who He says you are. Stop reading the old chapters of your life when the author has already written a glorious ending. They brought a paralyzed man to Jesus, lowering him through the roof. Everyone expected Jesus to heal his legs first. "Son," Jesus said, "your sins are forgiven." The crowd murmured, "Who is this who speaks blasphemy? Only God can forgive sins." Jesus knew their thoughts. Which is easier, to say your sins are forgiven, or to say get up and walk? But I want you to know that the Son of Man has authority on earth to forgive sins. He turned to the man. "Get up, take your mat and go home. The Lamb has erased your history," Jesus seemed to say to him. "Now the Lion commands your destiny. Do not let your past paralysis keep you on the mat. Walk into your new life." 21. Loneliness is the place of encounter. In a hyper-connected world, we are terrified of being alone. We fill silence with noise. But the Lamb often withdrew to lonely places. It teaches us that solitude is not isolation. It is the VIP room for an encounter with God. When everyone else leaves, the Lion remains. Your loneliest season is often your most prophetic season. After feeding the 5,000, Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and dismissed the crowd. He went up on a mountainside by himself to pray. It was late and the wind was howling. The disciples felt abandoned in the storm. "He is not here," John whispered in the boat. "We are alone." But Jesus was watching them from the mountain. In the solitude, He was interceding. "You are never alone," His Spirit spoke to the wind. "I withdraw from the noise to hear the Father, so I can command the storm. Do not fear the silence. It is in the quiet that the Lion's voice is heard most clearly." 22. Wealth is a tool, not a master. The Lamb was born in a borrowed manger and buried in a borrowed tomb. He owned nothing, yet possessed everything. This challenges our materialistic anxiety. The Lion of Judah owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. When you realize your Father is the King, you stop hoarding out of fear and start giving out of trust. Security comes from the provider, not the provision. A man in the crowd shouted, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me." Jesus turned, his expression serious. "Watch out! Be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Life does not consist in an abundance of possessions." He pointed to the lilies of the field. "Look at the flowers. They do not labor or spin. Yet I tell you, not even Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like one of these. If God clothes the grass, will He not much more clothe you?" The Lamb lived with open hands. The Lion possesses the kingdom. Seek first His kingdom, and all these things will be given to you. 23. Courage is contagious. When the Lion roars, the pride rallies. Your boldness in faith gives others permission to be brave. When you stand up for truth in your workplace or family, you are channeling the spirit of the lion. The lamb teaches us to sacrifice for others. The lion teaches us to stand for others. One brave voice can shift the atmosphere of an entire room. Jesus set his face toward Jerusalem, walking ahead of the disciples. They were amazed and afraid to follow, knowing death awaited. "Why do we go back to Judea?" they whispered. "They tried to stone you there." Jesus kept walking, his stride purposeful. "The day has 12 hours, does it not? A man who walks by day will not stumble. I go to wake Lazarus. I go to finish the work." Seeing his resolve, Thomas took a deep breath and said to the others, "Let us also go, that we may die with him." Jesus glanced back. "Your courage comes from looking at me. When the lion walks into the fire, the cubs learn not to fear the heat." 24. Death is not the end. It is a doorway. The greatest fear of humanity is death. The lamb conquered death by submitting to it. The lion returns to destroy it forever. This philosophy shifts our perspective on mortality. We don't have to live in fear of the end. For the believer, the grave is just the dressing room for immortality. Standing outside the tomb of Lazarus, Jesus wept, not for Lazarus but for the pain death causes humanity. "I am the resurrection and the life," Jesus told Martha. "The one who believes in me will live, even though they die." "Do you believe this?" he asked. It was a question for every generation. Death is a defeated enemy, Martha. The Lamb will taste death for everyone, so that the lion can swallow death in victory. Do not say goodbye at the grave. Say see you in the morning. 25. Authenticity over appearance. The religious leaders of Jesus' day looked perfect on the outside, but were rotting on the inside. The Lamb had no beauty that we should desire him, Isaiah 53, yet he was pure. The lion sees through every mask. In a world of social media filters, this philosophy invites us to be real. God is not impressed by your image. He is obsessed with your integrity. "Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites!" Jesus' voice rose like a lion's roar in the temple courts. "You are like whitewashed tombs, which look beautiful on the outside, but on the inside are full of the bones of the dead and everything unclean." He turned to his disciples. "Do not be like actors on a stage. The Lamb was naked on the cross, hiding nothing. The lion's eyes are like blazing fire. He sees the heart. Be real before God. A rough stone that is real is worth more than a painted diamond." 26. The power of no. The Lamb was submissive to the Father, but resisted the world. He said no to the devil's temptations, no to the crowd's attempt to make him a political king. We often burn out because we can't say no. The lion sets boundaries. To fulfill your high calling, you must learn to decline the good things to focus on the God things. The devil led him to a high place and showed him in an instant all the kingdoms of the world. "I will give you all their authority and splendor," the devil hissed. "It has been given to me, and I can give it to anyone I want. If you worship me, it will all be yours." Jesus didn't hesitate. It is written, "Worship the Lord your God and serve him only." "My kingdom is not of this world," Jesus later told Pilate. "The Lamb knows his master. The lion knows his territory. I do not need your shortcuts. I will win the crown through the cross, not through compromise." 27. Endurance is the mark of the chosen. We love the start of things, the excitement, the passion, but the Lamb endured the cross. The lion prevails. The middle of the journey is where most people quit. This philosophy encourages grit. Faith isn't just a feeling. It's a long obedience in the same direction. The lion honors those who are still standing when the smoke clears. "Simon, Simon," Jesus said during the Last Supper, his eyes intense, "Satan has asked to sift all of you as wheat, but I have prayed for you, Simon, that your faith may not fail." "Lord, I am ready to go with you to prison and to death," Peter declared. "I tell you, Peter," Jesus replied, "before the rooster crows today, you will deny 3 times that you know me. But when you have turned back, strengthen your brothers. Falling is not failure, Peter. Staying down is. The lamb endures the pain. The lion restores the fallen. Your story doesn't end in the courtyard. It ends in the upper room of power." 28. Unity is the lion's strategy. The lion protects the pride, the flock. The enemy's strategy is always divide and conquer. In our families and communities, division is the first sign of attack. The philosophy of the lamb brings us together through forgiveness. The philosophy of the lion defends our unity against external threats. We are safer together. Jesus looked up to heaven and prayed for his disciples. "Holy Father, protect them by the power of your name, the name you gave me, so that they may be one as we are one. A kingdom divided against itself cannot stand," he had taught them. The wolf snatches the sheep that strays from the flock. The lamb died to gather the scattered children of God. The lion returns to rule one kingdom, under one king. Do not let petty arguments tear apart what I died to build. Stand together, shoulder to shoulder. 29. The word is your weapon. When the lion roars, it is the word of God. In Revelation, a sword comes out of his mouth. In our battles with depression, fear, or confusion, we often try to fight with logic or willpower. But the only thing that defeats spiritual darkness is the spoken word. Speak scripture over your situation. Let the lion roar through your mouth. In the wilderness, weak from 40 days of fasting, Jesus faced the tempter. He didn't use divine lightning. He used a weapon available to all of us. "It is written," Jesus said. "It is written," he said again. "It is written," he said a 3rd time. He turned to his disciples later. "The words I have spoken to you, they are full of the Spirit and life. When the enemy whispers lies, do not argue. Roar the truth. The Lamb surrendered his body, but he never surrendered his word. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away." 30. It is never too late for a miracle. The Lamb arrived in the fullness of time. The lion will return at the appointed time. We often think we have missed our chance, that it's too late for our dreams or our redemption. But God is the master of the 11th hour. The story isn't over until the lion roars. As long as you have breath, there is hope for a turnaround. On the cross, with only moments left to live, the thief on the right looked at Jesus. His life was wasted. His time was up. "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom," he rasped. Jesus turned his blood-stained face toward him. "Truly, I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise." To the crowd, it was over. To the Lamb, it was finished. To the lion, it was just beginning. It is never too late, the Spirit of prophecy whispers to you today. One moment of faith can rewrite a lifetime of failure. The King is ready to receive you right now, right where you are. 31. Doubt is not the opposite of faith. It is part of it. We often feel guilty when we question God's plan or His timing. We think doubt makes us bad believers. But the Lamb treats doubt with compassion, not anger. Even the greatest prophets had moments of darkness. The Lion does not need your blind confidence. He wants your honest heart. Bringing your doubts to God is actually an act of faith. It means you trust Him enough to handle your questions. John the Baptist, the fierce prophet who once roared in the wilderness, was now rotting in a dark dungeon, awaiting execution. Doubt crept into his mind. He sent his disciples to Jesus with a heartbreaking question. "Are you the one who is to come?" they asked Jesus, "or should we expect someone else?" Jesus did not get angry. He did not rebuke John for wavering. He looked at the messengers with deep empathy. "Go back and report to John what you hear and see. The blind receive sight, the lame walk, and the good news is proclaimed to the poor. And blessed is anyone who does not stumble on account of me. Tell John," Jesus added softly, "that the Lamb is working even in the silence. The Lion will roar in his time. Hold on." 32. Your why is more important than your what. In modern life, we obsess over what we do, our job titles, our achievements. But God looks at why we do it. You can do the right thing with the wrong heart and miss the reward. The Lamb searches the motives. A small act done with great love echoes louder in eternity than a great act done for applause. He sat opposite the place where the offerings were put and watched the crowd putting their money into the temple treasury. Many rich people threw in large amounts, the coins clanging loudly for all to hear. But a poor widow came and put in 2 very small copper coins, worth only a few cents. Jesus called his disciples to him. "Truly I tell you, this poor widow has put more into the treasury than all the others." "But Lord, it is almost nothing," Judas muttered. "To the world, it is nothing," Jesus corrected. "To the Lion, it is everything. They gave out of their wealth. She gave out of her poverty. She put in everything, all she had to live on. The kingdom is not built on gold, but on the sacrifice of the heart." 33. The world offers a spotlight. God offers a lamp. We crave fame, viral moments, and global recognition. We want the spotlight. But the philosophy of the Lamb is about the lamp, light that is focused, local, and guides the next step. You don't need to change the whole world to matter. You just need to light up the darkness immediately around you. That is enough. "You are the light of the world," Jesus told the crowd on the hillside. "A town built on a hill cannot be hidden." He picked up a small oil lamp. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. He looked into their eyes. "Do not try to be the sun. That is my glory. Be the lamp. Shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. The lion's roar is heard across the nations, but the Lamb's light is needed in the corners of your own home." 34. Anxiety is a signal to realign. When we worry, we are essentially acting as atheists for that moment, believing we are in control and everything depends on us. The Lamb invites us to shift the weight. Anxiety is not a sin to be punished for. It is a signal light on your dashboard, telling you that you are trying to carry a load that belongs to the Lion. "Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life," Jesus said, pointing to the birds circling above the Sea of Galilee. "Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or store away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they?" Peter looked at the horizon, worried about the next day's catch. "Peter," Jesus said, "can any one of you by worrying add a single hour to your life? Worry does not empty tomorrow of its sorrow. It empties today of its strength. Seek first the kingdom, and the king will take care of the rest. 35. Enemies are actually elevators. We pray for our enemies to be removed, but the Lamb teaches us to pray for them. This is the hardest philosophy to live by. When you bless those who curse you, you step out of the earthly realm and into the divine. Your enemies push you to your knees, and it is on your knees that you grow tall enough to look the lion in the eye. You have heard that it was said, "Love your neighbor and hate your enemy." Jesus' voice challenged the crowd. But I tell you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. A zealot in the crowd shouted, "Love the Romans, they kill us!" Jesus held his gaze. If you love those who love you, what reward will you get? Even the tax collectors do that. Be perfect, therefore, as your heavenly Father is perfect. The lion conquers his enemies by making them his footstool. The lamb conquers his enemies by making them his friends. This is the higher way. 36. Comparison is the thief of destiny. We constantly compare our lives to others on social media. Why is he blessed and I am struggling? The Lamb teaches us to stay in our own lane. God's plan for Peter was different from his plan for John. Focusing on someone else's race will only make you trip in your own. The lion has a unique territory for you to rule. Don't covet your neighbor's field. After his resurrection, by the shore, Jesus told Peter how he would die for God. Peter saw John following them. "Lord, what about him?" Peter asked, pointing at John. Jesus answered, "If I want him to remain alive until I return, what is that to you? You must follow me." "Peter," the Master's voice was firm, "do not look at his path. Do not measure your scars against his blessings. Comparison will kill your call. Keep your eyes on the lion, not on the other sheep. You follow me." 37. Fruitfulness requires pruning. When we lose something, a job, a relationship, money, we feel attacked, but often it is not an attack, it is pruning. The gardener cuts away the dead branches not to hurt the tree, but to prepare it for a greater harvest. The lamb submitted to the cutting. The lion brings the fruit. The pain you feel today is the preparation for the abundance of tomorrow. Walking through the vineyards near Jerusalem, Jesus touched a vine that had been cut back sharply. "I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener," he taught. "He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes so that it will be even more fruitful." The disciples looked at the cut branches. "It looks painful, Lord." "It is," Jesus agreed. "But without the knife, there is no wine. Do not fear the loss, my friends. The Father is not destroying you. He is making room for the new growth. Trust the gardener's hand." 38. Your tongue can create or destroy. We speak careless words of negativity, gossip, and fear. The lion roars with authority, creating reality with his words. We are made in his image. This philosophy reminds us that our words are containers of power. You can speak life into your dead situation, or you can speak death. Align your speech with the roar of the lion, not the whimper of the victim. The things that come out of a person's mouth come from the heart, Jesus explained to the disciples, who were confused about dietary laws. What goes into someone's mouth does not defile them, but what comes out of their mouth, that is what defiles them. Peter asked, "Explain this parable to us." Jesus said, "Words are like seeds, Peter. By your words you will be acquitted, and by your words you will be condemned. The lion created the universe with a word. Be careful what you build with your tongue, for you will have to live in the house your words have built. 39. Greatness is found in the secret place. We live in a look-at-me culture, but the Lamb spent 30 years in obscurity for 3 years of ministry. The lion's power is forged in the shadows. Don't despise your season of hiddenness. When no one sees you working, praying, or serving, God sees. He is building a foundation in the dark that can support a skyscraper in the light. When you pray, Jesus taught, do not be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray standing in the synagogues and on the street corners to be seen by others. But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. He looked at the young faces around him. The roots of the great cedar tree grow deep in the dark earth, long before the branches touch the sky. Do not rush to the stage. Let the Father build you in the secret place, so the lion can sustain you in the public place. 40. To find your life, you must lose it. This is the central paradox of the gospel. We try to save our lives, clinging to comfort, safety, and control. But the Lamb teaches that gripping your life too tightly causes it to slip away like sand. Letting go, surrendering control to the lion, is the only way to truly live. It feels like dying, but it is actually waking up. Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me, Jesus said to a crowd that only wanted miracles. For whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will find it. He looked at a young man clutching his bag of possessions. You hold on to your life like a miser holds a coin. Open your hand. Let go. Only an empty hand can grasp the hand of the King. Surrender is not the end of liberty. It is the beginning of destiny. 41. Love is a command, not a feeling. We think love is an emotion that comes and goes. But the Lamb chose the cross when he didn't feel like it. Gethsemane. Love is a decision of the will. It is a commandment from the lion. When you love people you don't like, when you serve when you are tired, you are operating in divine authority, overriding your human emotions. A new command I give you. Love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another, Jesus said at the Last Supper. But Lord, Thaddeus asked, what if they betray us? What if they are hard to love? Jesus broke the bread. I did not say feel love for them. I said love them. Love is an action, Thaddeus. It is the uniform of my army. By this everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another. The lion does not ask for your feelings. He commands your obedience. And in the obedience, the feeling will follow. 42. The kingdom is upside down. In the world, the rich rule the poor. In the kingdom, the poor in spirit own the kingdom. In the world, we fight to win. In the kingdom, we yield to win. The philosophy of the Lamb flips our worldview. If you feel like a loser by worldly standards because of your integrity, rejoice. You are a winner in the lion's economy. Blessed are the poor in spirit, Jesus began, shocking the listeners who expected a political revolution. Blessed are those who mourn. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. A murmur went through the crowd. The meek? The Romans will crush the meek. Jesus raised a hand. The Romans build empires on sand. I build a kingdom on rock. The last will be first, and the first will be last. Do not envy the arrogance of the strong. The Lion of Judah protects the meek, and gave the earth to them as an inheritance. The world is upside down. I have come to turn it right side up. 43. Mercy triumphs over judgment. We are often our own harshest critics. We judge ourselves for past mistakes. But the Lion, who has the right to judge, chooses mercy for those who ask. The Lamb's blood speaks a better word than our guilt. This philosophy frees us from self-condemnation. If the judge has declared you not guilty, stop putting yourself back on trial. He was dining at the house of Matthew. The Pharisees asked his disciples, "Why does your teacher eat with tax collectors and sinners?" Hearing this, Jesus said, "It is not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick. But go and learn what this means. I desire mercy, not sacrifice. For I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners." He looked at Matthew's ashamed friends. The world judges you by your past. The law judges you by your deeds. But the Lamb covers you. Mercy is the roar that silences the accuser. Accept it and be free. And 44. Focus on today's bread. We stress about the 5-year plan, the retirement fund, the what-ifs of next year. The Lamb teaches us to live in day-tight compartments. The prayer is, "Give us this day our daily bread." The Lion promises to be there in the future, so you don't need to mentally travel there to fix it. Live fully now. "Give us today our daily bread," Jesus taught them to pray. "Just for today?" one asked. "What about tomorrow's hunger?" Jesus smiled. When the Israelites were in the desert, manna fell fresh every morning. If they tried to store it, it rotted. My grace is like manna. It is fresh every morning. You cannot store grace for next year's crisis. Trust me for today. When tomorrow comes, the Lion will be there waiting for you with new strength. 45. Your secret. Sin is a public chain. We think we can hide our secret habits and that they don't affect anyone. But the light of the world reveals that secret sin enslaves us and dims our light. The Lamb died to break those chains. The Lion demands purity not to restrict us, but to liberate us from the shadows that hunt us. There is nothing concealed that will not be disclosed, or hidden that will not be made known, Jesus warned the crowds. What you have said in the dark will be heard in the daylight, and what you have whispered in the ear in the inner rooms will be proclaimed from the roofs. He leaned in closer. You think the darkness protects your secrets? No, it imprisons you. Bring your chains into the light. Confess them. The Lamb's blood washes clean. But only what is brought into the light can be healed. Be free from the shadows. 46. Persistence breaks resistance. When prayers aren't answered immediately, we quit. We think God said no. But the Lion encourages a spirit of persistence. Keep knocking. Keep asking. Faith is tenacity. It is the widow refusing to leave the judge alone. It is the blind man shouting louder when told to be quiet. The Lamb was getötelt in suffering, but we must be loud in prayer. Jesus told them a parable to show them that they should always pray and not give up. In a certain town there was a judge who neither feared God nor cared about what people thought. And there was a widow in that town who kept coming to him with the plea, "Grant me justice against my adversary." For some time he refused, but finally he said to himself, "Because this widow keeps bothering me, I will see that she gets justice." Jesus looked at his weary followers, and will not God bring about justice for his chosen ones, who cry out to him day and night? I tell you, he will see that they get justice, and quickly. When you feel like quitting, knock harder. The Lion loves the faith that refuses to let go. 47. The Holy Spirit is your advantage. We feel alone in our struggles, but Jesus said it was better for him to go so the Helper could come. The Lamb ascended so the Spirit could descend. You have the power that raised Christ from the dead living inside you. You are not a helpless orphan. You are a temple of the Lion Spirit. It is for your good that I am going away, Jesus told the sorrowful disciples in the upper room. Unless I go away, the Advocate will not come to you. But if I go, I will send him to you. We will be orphans, Philip cried. No, Jesus assured them. I have been with you, but he will be in you. You are limited now, but when the Spirit comes, you will have the power of the lion in your very veins. You will face kings and not tremble. You will speak words of fire. You are never alone. 48. Stewardship, not ownership. We stress about losing our stuff, our house, our money, our reputation. The philosophy of the kingdom is that we own nothing. We manage everything. We are stewards. The lion is the owner. This relieves the pressure. If you lose something, you haven't lost your identity. You've just had a change in assignment. Hold everything loosely. A man going on a journey called his servants and entrusted his wealth to them. Jesus began the parable of the talents. To one he gave 5 bags of gold, to another 2, to another 1. He concluded, the master will return to settle accounts. The question is not, how much did you have? But, what did you do with it? Do not bury your gift in the ground out of fear. Use it. Risk it for the kingdom. The lion rewards the steward who multiplies what was given, not the one who hoards it. 49. The world will hate you. Rejoice. If you follow the Lamb, the wolves will hate you. Modern believers are shocked by opposition or cancel culture, but Jesus promised it. If you fit in perfectly with the world, you might be walking the wrong way. The lion's nature is offensive to the darkness. Wear their rejection as a badge of honor. If the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first, Jesus warned them as they walked through the vineyard. If you belonged to the world, it would love you as its own. As it is, you do not belong to the world. But I have chosen you out of the world. That is why the world hates you. He saw the fear in their eyes. Do not be afraid. They hated the Lamb because he exposed their sin. They will hate you because you carry my light. But take heart, I have overcome the world. The lion's roar is the final word, not the world's insults. 50. Heaven is your real home. We treat this earth like it's our permanent home, so we are devastated when it breaks our hearts. The prophecy of the lion reminds us we are just passing through. We are citizens of a kingdom that is coming. This perspective changes everything. We can endure a bad night in a hotel because we know we are going home in the morning. Do not let your hearts be troubled, Jesus said, his voice tender on that last night. You believe in God. Believe also in me. My Father's house has many rooms. If that were not so, would I have told you that I am going there to prepare a place for you? And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back and take you to be with me. He looked at them with the love of the Lamb and the promise of the Lion. This world is a bridge. Pass over it, but do not build your house on it. I am coming back, not as a baby, but as a bridegroom for his bride. Keep your lamps burning. I am your home. 51. Distraction is the enemy of intimacy. We live in a world of constant notifications. We are busy but spiritually empty. The Lamb teaches us that the one thing needed is presence. The lion roars not to frighten us, but to call our attention back to what matters. You cannot hear the heartbeat of God if you are always listening to the noise of the world. Busyness is often a cage we build ourselves. Martha was frantic, running between the kitchen and the guests, angry that her sister Mary was just sitting at Jesus' feet. "Lord, don't you care?" Martha snapped. "Tell her to help me." Jesus looked at Martha with a sad smile. "Martha, Martha, you are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed, or indeed only one. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her. The Lamb does not want your to-do list. He wants your company. Do not let your service become greater than your worship." 52. Your scars. Tell a story of victory. We try to hide our scars, both physical and emotional. We think they make us ugly or weak, but the resurrected Jesus kept his scars. The lion wears his wounds as trophies. This philosophy teaches us that your past trauma is not something to be ashamed of. It is the proof that you survived. Your scars are your stripes of honor in the lion's army. Thomas had refused to believe unless he saw the marks. 8 days later, Jesus appeared again. He didn't hide his hands. He offered them. "Put your finger here. See my hands," Jesus commanded gently. "Reach out your hand and put it into my side." Thomas fell to his knees. "My Lord and my God!" Jesus whispered, "You thought scars were a sign of defeat, Thomas? No. These are the receipts of your redemption. The Lamb was wounded so the lion could heal. Never hide your story. Your healing will be the key to someone else's prison. 53. Truth is a person, not a concept. In our modern age of relativism, we ask, what is your truth and what is my truth? But the lion declares there is only the truth. Truth isn't a debate, it's a person. When you align with him, you don't just find answers, you find an anchor. The Lamb didn't come to argue philosophy. He came to be the reality. Pilate stood in his palace, cynical and tired of politics. He looked at the prisoner before him. "You are a king, then," said Pilate. Jesus answered, "You say that I am a king. In fact, the reason I was born and came into the world is to testify to the truth. Everyone on the side of truth listens to me." "What is truth?" Pilate sneered, turning away, unaware he was looking truth in the eye. To the disciples later, the Spirit would reveal, "He didn't answer Pilate, because truth cannot be explained to a closed heart. It must be experienced. The lion is the Amen, the faithful and true witness." 54. Giving is the cure for greed. Greed is not just about money. It's the fear that there won't be enough. The Lamb broke the bread and multiplied it. The philosophy of the kingdom is that what you keep, you lose. What you give multiplies. The lion is the source of infinite supply. Generosity breaks the spirit of poverty and fear in your life. The disciples looked at the 5,000 hungry men. "Send them away," they said. "We only have 5 loaves and 2 fish. Bring them here to me," Jesus said. He looked up to heaven, gave thanks, and broke the loaves. The food kept multiplying as it was given away. "Do you see?" He taught them as they gathered 12 baskets of leftovers. If the boy had kept his lunch, it would have fed one. Because he gave it to the Lamb, it fed a multitude. Do not hoard your life. Brokenness leads to abundance. 55. Focus on the destination, not the waves. When life gets stormy, we stare at the problems, the bills, the diagnosis, the conflict. Peter sank when he looked at the wind. The lion calls us to lock eyes with him. This philosophy reminds us that your environment doesn't determine your outcome. Your focus does. You can walk on top of what is trying to drown you. Peter stepped out of the boat, walking on water. But then he saw the wind. Fear gripped him, and he began to sink. "Lord, save me." Immediately, Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. "You of little faith," he said, "why did you doubt?" As they climbed into the boat, Jesus explained, "The waves were there when you walked, and they were there when you sank. The waves didn't change, Peter. Your eyes did. The lamb calms the sea, but the lion commands you to walk over it. Keep your eyes on the king, and the chaos becomes a pavement." 56. The first step to leadership is self-denial. Modern leadership celebrates ego. Kingdom leadership celebrates self-denial. The Lamb emptied himself to fill us. The lion rules with absolute power because he has absolute self-control. You cannot lead a family or a business effectively until you have learned to lead yourself and subdue your own ego. James and John's mother knelt before Jesus. "Grant that one of these 2 sons of mine may sit at your right and the other at your left in your kingdom." The other 10 disciples were indignant. Jesus called them together. "Whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant," he said firmly. "For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many." "You want the throne?" Jesus asked them. "The path to the throne goes through the cross. The lion's roar is powerful because it is fueled by the Lamb's sacrifice. Die to your ego, and you will rise in authority." 57. Forgive yourself. The lion. Has many of us live in the prison of regret. If only I hadn't done that. The Lamb's blood didn't just forgive your neighbor, it forgave you. Peter denied Christ, yet Jesus cooked him breakfast. The lion restores not just our standing with God, but our standing with ourselves. Stop punishing yourself for a debt the Lamb has already paid. By the charcoal fire on the beach, Jesus recreated the scene of Peter's failure. 3 times Peter had denied him. 3 times Jesus asked, "Do you love me?" "Lord, you know all things. You know that I love you," Peter said, hurt by the repetition. "Then feed my sheep," Jesus commanded. "Peter, your failure is not your finale. I do not see a coward, I see the rock. Forgive yourself, Peter, for I have already moved on. The Lamb has washed you. Now get up and roar like a lion for my kingdom." 58. Your value is not in the approval of others. We are addicted to likes and validation. We fear the fear of man. But the Lamb was despised and rejected, yet remained the Son of God. The lion seeks only the approval of the Father. This philosophy liberates you from being a people-pleaser. You play to an audience of one. How can you believe, since you accept glory from one another, but do not seek the glory that comes from the only God? Jesus challenged the religious leaders. He turned to his followers. If you live for their praise, you will die by their criticism. I do not receive glory from men. I know who I am. The Lamb stands silent before the mockers, because he knows the Father is watching. Seek the applause of heaven, and earth's opinions will fade like mist. 59. Small beginnings hold infinite potential. We despise our small starts, the small business, the small ministry, the small savings account. But the kingdom is like a mustard seed. The lion's roar starts as a breath. Do not give up because you don't see immediate, massive results. The DNA of a forest is in a single acorn. What shall we say the kingdom of God is like? Jesus asked the crowd. It is like a mustard seed, which is the smallest of all seeds on earth. Yet when planted, it grows and becomes the largest of all garden plants. He held up a tiny seed. You see this speck? The world sees nothing. I see shade for the nations. Do not despise the day of small things. The Lamb was born in a stable, but the lion rules the universe. Plant your small act of faith today and trust God with the harvest. 60. Purity is power. The world mocks purity as old-fashioned. But the Lamb was without blemish. The Lion is the Holy One. Purity is not just about avoiding sin. It is about clarity of purpose and power. A dirty window blocks the light. Purity cleans the glass, so the Lion's power can shine through you without obstruction. Blessed are the pure in heart, Jesus taught on the mountain, for they will see God. Later, privately, he explained, the eye is the lamp of the body. If your eyes are healthy, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eyes are unhealthy, your whole body will be full of darkness. You cannot serve two masters, he warned. You cannot mix the world's mud with the kingdom's gold. The Lion demands a pure vessel. Cleanse your hands and purify your hearts, and you will see the invisible. 61. Kindness is a weapon against evil. When treated poorly, we want revenge, but the Lamb teaches that kindness is like heaping burning coals on an enemy's head. It disarms them. It confuses the darkness. The Lion conquers, but he often conquers hearts through the unexpected weapon of kindness. A Roman soldier slapped Jesus during his trial. Is that how you answer the high priest? Jesus did not strike back. He looked at the man calmly. If I said something wrong, testify as to what is wrong. But if I spoke the truth, why did you strike me? To his disciples, he had taught, if someone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other also. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good. The Lamb's gentleness is not passivity. It is an aggressive act of love that shames the darkness. 62. Religion can blind you to God. The people who missed the Messiah were the religious experts. They loved their rules more than the Redeemer. The Lamb challenges our traditions. Are you following a routine, or are you following the King? The Lion roars against empty religion to awaken a living relationship. It was the Sabbath, and Jesus healed a man with a shriveled hand. The Pharisees were furious that he worked on the holy day. Jesus looked around at them in anger and, deeply distressed at their stubborn hearts, said, "Which is lawful on the Sabbath, to do good or to do evil, to save life or to kill?" They remained silent. The Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath, Jesus declared. You have turned God's gift into a burden. The Lamb desires mercy, not ritual. Do not let your rules keep you from the ruler. The Lion is Lord even of the Sabbath. 63. Worrying about tomorrow steals today. We live in a state of chronic forecasting, predicting disasters that haven't happened. The Lamb calls us to abide in the now. The Lion is already in your tomorrow, clearing the path. Why stress about a bridge you haven't reached yet? Who of you by worrying can add a single hour to his life? Jesus asked. So do not worry, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink? For the pagans run after all these things, and your heavenly Father knows that you need them. He touched a wildflower. If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today and tomorrow is thrown into the fire, will he not much more clothe you? You have enough trouble for today. Focus here. The Lamb provides daily manna. The Lion guards the future. Be present. 64. Hypocrisy is the only thing Jesus could not tolerate. Jesus was gentle with sinners, but fierce with hypocrites. We often wear masks at church or work. The Lion hates the fake. This philosophy urges us to drop the act. Being real about your mess brings you closer to God than pretending you are clean. Woe to you, teachers of the law and Pharisees, you hypocrites, Jesus cried out. You clean the outside of the cup and dish, but inside they are full of greed and self-indulgence. Blind Pharisee. First clean the inside of the cup and dish, and then the outside also will be clean. He turned to the crowd. There is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed. The lion sees through the whitewash. Do not pretend to be righteous. Admit you are broken. The Lamb came for the sick, not the healthy who think they need no doctor. 65. Gratitude multiplies miracles. We focus on what is missing. The Lamb gave thanks for what was present, the broken bread, and it multiplied. Gratitude is the atmosphere where miracles happen. When you thank the lion before the victory, you are demonstrating the highest form of faith. 10 lepers called out to him, "Jesus, Master, have pity on us." He healed them all as they went, but only one came back, praising God in a loud voice. He threw himself at Jesus' feet and thanked him. And Jesus asked, "Were not all 10 cleansed? Where are the other 9? Has no one returned to give praise to God, except this foreigner?" He said to him, "Rise and go. Your faith has made you well." Gratitude completes the circle, Jesus seemed to say. The others received healing of the body. This man received healing of the soul. The lion honors the heart that remembers to say, "Thank you." 66. The minority with God is the majority. We feel outnumbered by the culture, by problems, by enemies. But the prophecy of the lion reminds us that the kingdom is not a democracy. It is a monarchy. If the king is for you, who can be against you? One person with the truth is stronger than 1,000,000 with a lie. Enter through the narrow gate, Jesus urged. For wide is the gate, and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate, and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it. Do not follow the crowd to do evil, he warned. The herd rushes off the cliff. The sheep listen to the shepherd. Do not be afraid, as San called, to stand alone. The lion walks alone, and he is the king of beasts. Better to walk alone with the truth than in a crowd with a lie. 67. Spiritual hunger attracts God. God does not pour his Spirit into those who are full of themselves or the world. He fills the hungry. The Lamb invites us to the table, but we must bring the appetite. If you feel distant from God, ask yourself, what am I filling my soul with? Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled, Jesus promised. The crowd had followed him for 3 days without food. Jesus saw their physical hunger, but he knew their spiritual starvation was deeper. Do not work for food that spoils, but for food that endures to eternal life, he told them. I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never go hungry. The lion hunts for the hungry heart. If you are satisfied with the world, you will miss the kingdom. Stay hungry for me. 68. Your weakness is God's workspace. We try to hide our flaws, but God says, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." The Lamb was broken to save us. The lion uses broken vessels to show his glory, so that no human can boast. Your limitation is God's invitation to show up. Paul, later reflecting on Jesus' teachings, would write about his thorn in the flesh. He pleaded for it to be removed. But the Lord answered, "My grace is sufficient for you." Jesus had taught this principle often. It is not the strong who need a doctor, he said. The shepherd leaves the 99 strong sheep to find the one that is lost and limping. Do not despise your limp. It makes you lean on the shepherd. The lion's strength is best seen when he defends the weak. 69. There is no neutral ground. We try to sit on the fence, living for the world on Monday and for God on Sunday. but the lion demands allegiance. He who is not with me is against me. The lamb forces a choice. You cannot serve two masters. Indecision is a decision. He who is not with me is against me, and he who does not gather with me scatters, Jesus declared. I know your deeds, that you are neither cold nor hot, he would later reveal in Revelation. I wish you were either one or the other. So because you are lukewarm, neither hot nor cold, I am about to spit you out of my mouth. Choose this day, the Spirit urges. The Lamb gave his all. The Lion demands your all. There is no middle ground in the kingdom of fire. 70. The end is actually a new beginning. We fear the end times as a catastrophe. But for the believer, the apocalypse, Revelation, is not a disaster. It is a wedding. It is the unveiling of the King. The Lamb leads us home. The Lion restores Eden. The pain of this world is just the birth pains of a new creation. Now I saw a new heaven and a new earth, John wrote, recording the vision Jesus gave him. And I heard a loud voice from the throne saying, Look, God's dwelling place is now among the people. He will wipe every tear from their eyes. Jesus had promised this at the Last Supper. I am going there to prepare a place for you. Do not fear the end of the book, he whispers to us now. The Lamb has written your name in the book of life. The Lion is closing the chapter on pain and opening the chapter on eternity. The best is yet to come. We have journeyed through 70 truths, walking the path from the humble manger to the glorious throne. Remember this. The Lamb came to silence your past, so the Lion could secure your future. We are living in the most prophetic time in history, the breath between the first coming and the second coming. The world sees chaos, but you see the signs. Do not let the noise of this modern world drown out the whisper of the shepherd or the approaching roar of the King. You were not born in this generation by accident. You are here to carry the light of the Lamb and the boldness of the Lion. If these truths have awakened something in your spirit today, do not let that fire die out. You are not alone in this journey. We are a community of believers, watchers, and truth-seekers. If you want to continue unveiling the divine mysteries hidden in the ancient scriptures, click that subscribe button and ring the bell. Don't miss our next revelation. I have a challenge for you today. If you believe that he is coming back to rule and reign, make your declaration. Go to the comments below and type, "The Lion is coming." Let the world know whose side you are on. And finally, share this video with someone who needs hope. Be the lamp that lights up someone else's darkness today. This is Revelation in prophecy. The mysteries are being revealed. The King is at the door. Until next time, keep watching, keep believing, and keep looking up.